Hey folks, Thrifty Teresa here. I am wanting to do a small video series on how to create a listing on Etsy. This is something that has been requested pretty often, and I've been delaying and dragging my feet on doing it, and I apologize for that. Um, I always thought it was a really easy process on how to create a listing. And then I get all these requests, and it dawns on me, I probably watched a video like this somewhere along the way when I was learning Etsy way back in the day. I watch a lot of how-to videos, so it's only fair that I provide a how-to video on how to create a listing on Etsy. So I'm going to break this up into a few little series on how to create the listing, and hopefully it will answer some of the questions that some of you have. If you have additional questions about the video, please leave me a comment. I will do my best to address those questions, either replying to your comment or creating a video in the future to address your question. So let's get started. The thing we're going to list today, let's take a look at that. It's going to be this tiny little wall plaque that I picked up. It is so cute. It has these adorable little boy and girl giving a smooch. Of course, practice makes perfect in everything you do, and that comes to, you know, giving your first kiss. The second kiss is almost always better. So that's what we're going to list today. This is a vintage item. It was made in 1979. I will talk more about Etsy's restrictions on items later, but this is just a cute little plaque, and that is what we are going to list on Etsy. So the first thing I'm going to do from the main Etsy page is I'm going to go to your shop, my shop, add a listing, and it will come up with the listing page here. We'll just start at the very top. To add a new listing, the first thing it's going to ask you for is photos. You can upload all your photos all at once. You just click on your first photo. You can have up to 5 photos on your listing. You can't have more than 5. So please be sure to include any photos that are going to point out flaws of your item, or show the front and the back and the side and the top and the bottom, or the best photos that you can get for your item that show it off the best way for your customers. I think that's kind of a no-brainer, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. I always try to do with something like this, I always try to have a main picture that shows the whole thing. Back of the picture, I zoomed in so people could see where it was made and the date on it. I zoomed in on this part to show that it has not been used. It's got this little cardboard backing stand on it, and I wanted people to see that this is unused and flat and clean and nice. And then I zoomed in on the front here because there are a few imperfections. He's got a little scratch here, there's a little scratch here. It's not, it's almost 40 years old, so it's bound to have a few flaws, but I wanted to zoom in and show that detail. So that's what I've done for my photos. And they're still loading here, but that's okay. We can continue on. The listing detail, the very first thing is title. You can have 140 characters. That is considerably more than eBay gives you, and I try to use it all up to the best of my ability. For search engine optimization, SEO is something that a lot of people talk about. For SEO, in order for Google to find your listings, in order for customers to find your listings on Etsy, you want to have as much detailed keyword information in your title as possible. I've already created a title for this, so I'm just going to go copy. I'm going to paste that here, and then I'll show you exactly what I have. So, practice makes perfect wall plaque, because that's what it says and that's what it is. It's by Paula Cutes, dated 1979. I always add the word vintage in my listings. A lot of people put vintage at the very front. I sort of hide it somewhere in the middle. Reason being is I still want that vintage keyword in there for Google when you are searching on Google for vintage wall art, so I'm going to stick the word vintage in there, even though some people would say it's a no-brainer that you're posting it vintage. The category we're going to choose later is obviously going to be vintage. So is it moot to have the word vintage in your title? Absolutely not. I always want to have vintage in my title, specifically for search engine optimization. So, vintage wall art, I've added here nursery decor because you could put this in your baby's room or your child's room. It would be really sweet. First kiss is another keyword that I want to have in the title because maybe that's something that somebody's looking for. Anniversary gift. This would be a great thing for somebody to give to their spouse or their sweetheart for their anniversary. I put a blonde boy and redhead girl because that is what we have in our pictures. And here are the pictures finally came up here. So these are all search terms that people could be using to find this listing. We still have 4 characters left, but I think that is pretty good. The next thing that Etsy needs us to fill out is about this listing, and it is essentially telling your customer who made it. So select a maker. I did not make this. Nobody affiliated with my shop made this. Another person or company made this item, whoever this Paula lady is. Select a use. Vintage products are 99% of the time going to be a finished product. I do put my craft supplies, my sewing patterns, if they're old, even if they're old, I put them under supply, so it comes up as a craft supply item. Sewing patterns are a craft supply item, even if they are old. So I usually put those there rather than having them finished product. But this is a finished product. When was it made? It was made in 1979. It's on the cusp of 70s and 80s, but I'm going to go ahead and put 70s. And it'll come up saying this item is vintage. No duh. Okay, category. This is the category that people are going to use when they're searching or browsing the Etsy catalog. What category are we going to put this in? I'm going to choose home and living. I'm going to choose home decor. Then I'm going to choose wall decor because primarily this is an item to hang up on your wall. And then wall hanging. The next option here is a sign. This really isn't a sign, so I'm just going to leave it here. Home and living, home decor, wall hanging. So somebody would be able to search for a vintage wall hanging and find my item. I'm going to go ahead and stop here because next we're getting into price, and that is going to be a whole nother video. So again, we've started from the top. We made a very long title with lots and lots of keywords, so Google and people who are searching on Etsy could plug in all sorts of words to find our item. And we have categorized it as vintage. We have put it in the home decor category. And next, let's go figure out the price. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be back with another video on how to research pricing your vintage items on Etsy. Thanks for watching.